Good evening. Hey, everybody. This is Lynn Sharif, and I have been doing a series on the top 10 marriage killers. And we have covered a number of subjects. We have covered toxic people, abuse, social media, lack of communication, intimacy issues, addiction, no time investment. And on this past week, we covered immaturity. So we had some wonderful conversations this week, but I want to focus our time this evening on the top 5 differences between a mature and an immature relationship. So again, I want to discuss the top 5 differences between a mature and an immature relationship. The number one difference between a mature and an immature relationship is that a mature relationship really rests and basks in the glow of the love that you have. An immature relationship, on the other hand, you find that you're drowning in it. So if there is an element of mad, passionate drama, like you guys are having this mad, passionate argument and then mad, passionate make-up sex, there's a sign that there is a level of obsessiveness in your relationship. Something is off. There is no peace of mind. You're laying back like, do they really love me? There's just something that's just not calm and cool about the relationship. And so I can recall a period of time, and this is not the current relationship that I have, but I wasn't comfortable in it. So back at that time, there were pagers. So I would send a page. The page would never get through because the battery was off. The pager was off. The battery was dead. There was never any rest in that. And so I found myself being Inspector Gadget. And so what I'm telling you is that if you are in that type of scenario where you don't feel comfortable in the relationship, you're always, either in the middle of a mad drama or trying to recover or trying to figure something, it's too much. That's a sign that there is an immature level to the relationship. Difference number 2 is that you don't know when to pull the plug when a conversation is going south. I can tell you that a clue number 1 is if you are in a conversation with your spouse and it starts with, first of all, that conversation is not going to end well. Because what I'm saying is that when you are being driven by your emotions and your emotions are driving that conversation, and then before you know it, you were in the middle of some crazy, chaotic, huge argument, it means that no one has been able to pull the plug and say, you know what? This isn't going well. So how about if we just both step back from this and then we revisit it later, and you actually set a time to say, this isn't going well, we're going to talk about it at another time. Then that means that you are being driven by your emotions, and that is a sign of an immature relationship, because mature people read the physical signs of what they're going through. Like when you feel like, okay, I'm about to punch you in your face, and you can say, but that won't be good. So I'm just going to step away from it, because understand that in these moments when you are this emotional, you can say something that you may not be able to recover from. And so you need to be able to read yourself, read those physical signs, and understand that we need to step away from the relationship. That's a mature way of looking at it. Immature is, I'm going to let it ride. I'm just being me. I'm just being honest, and using I'm just being honest as an excuse to be reckless and mean when you're mad. That's a problem. That's a major problem. So difference number 3 is that immature relationships tend to be focused on yourself versus the relationship. In other words, this is pissing me off. I am mad. I versus we. At the heart of immaturity, please understand that it is immaturity. It is selfishness. At the heart of a mature relationship is selflessness. So you can understand that those things are diametrically opposed, selfishness and selflessness. And so what really needs to happen in that scenario in a mature relationship is that we are going to seek the solution that works for both of us. In other words, compromise. You want this, I want this. How can we meet in the middle to try to come up with something? That is what a mature relationship does. An immature relationship says that I'm just going for this and this is what I want. In other words, you're holding a hand grenade in your hand, the pen is in your teeth, and you are willing to lob it into the middle of the relationship. You're willing to pull the trigger on, you know what, that's my baby. You know what, this is my relationship. This is what I want. It's not going to work. It is not going to work. Selfishness and selflessness are diametrically opposed, and somebody has got to be able to step back and say, what is going to work for us? What is going to work for this relationship? So I'm on difference number 4. Difference number 4 between mature relationships and immature relationships is that immature relationships, they fight over text message and over social media. And it does not mean that as a mature, because I would consider myself to be in a mature relationship because I've gone through a whole lot, but it doesn't mean that I have not or my spouse has not indicated something over text message that we're not happy with. But the thing is that we don't let it ride over text message, and we certainly do not even go close to social media, because social media, that is an absolute wrong way. I don't even mean if you're talking to your spouse directly, but you go on social media and do all that conversation to get your friends to say, oh my God, what's wrong? No, nothing associated with your emotional health should ever be communicated over social media. And so Lord knows that you're not going to go onto social media and say, some people, they just stop it. Put the phone down and walk away. And send a text message to your spouse to say, you know what, we need to talk about this. And even if it's something that is so hot that you all can't have 2 sentences without then yelling at each other, I recommend couple journaling. You know what, you write what you feel. Write everything that you feel and then lay it in a place for your spouse to read, and then they can answer. Because I get it. I absolutely have had situations that 2 sentences and we are in the middle of a problem. So we call it, just the journaling, the couples journaling, something where you can get your thoughts out and that other person can respond. That's the proper way that a mature relationship tries to deal with their issues. So I'm coming into number 5 of our top 5 differences between a mature and an immature relationship. An immature relationship has lots of secrets. An immature relationship does not. So I talk about it and use them in terms of windows and walls. If you consider your house to be a house, and what are the windows that you are building into your house, or the walls that you are building to keep someone out? So are you building windows or are you building walls in your communication with your spouse? If you've got something that around the corner is like ooh, gotcha. That's a secret. That's a wall that you need to build a window instead of a wall. So 5 differences between a mature and an immature relationship. If you saw yourself in any of the 5 things that I said, please know that this is not the end, because I want to give you tools. Because understand, I've been the immature person, didn't have anyone to offer me a single tip on how to get past it. I want to give you just this one tip. And this one tip is James 1:5. James 1:5 says that if you do not have wisdom, that you can ask the Lord for wisdom and he'll give it to you. That's a big deal. That's a big deal. So if you do not have the maturity that you want to have, all he says, and that is an incredible promise, is that you just need to ask the Lord for wisdom and he can give it to you. Let him know, Lord, I am a child. I do not want to mess this thing up, but I am a child as it relates to maturity in my relationship. He can make it better. So I'm going to ask you to do that. And please join me for Marriage Monday, where we're going to cover the number 9 Top 10 Marriage Killer on Marriage Monday tomorrow. And I look forward to talking to each of you on next week. Thank you so much for joining me tonight. Take care. Bye-bye.